back to the Diabetic Diet Show. Today's show is honey garlic pork chops. It's show number 65. And we're going to start with the ingredients. And I gotta tell you, this is going to be a real tasty menu. You are going to want to make this. By the way, before I forget, the instructions on how to make this are real easy to get. If you just click the subscribe button in the lower right hand corner, you will see a little box with all the ingredients and all the measurements. Also too, you can always go to my website, which is jamestdds.blogspot.com. For the ingredients, we have honey, garlic powder, salt and pepper, a beef or chicken broth, or you could use water if that's all you have. At the end, we're going to need some parsley. I'm going to use a pineapple as well as corn with the meal. I have garlic. We're going to need a few cloves of garlic, so we're going to have to cut this up. And you need some vinegar. It can be rice wine vinegar or it can be apple cider vinegar. Either one of these. So let's go ahead and move a few things out of the way so we can get started. I'm going to have rice in the end. So when I do my rice, I take 2 glasses. 1 glass I fill up with the rice, the other glass I fill up with the water. So they're equal 50-50. I have the pans going, and one really big important thing with rice, spray your pan. Even if it's a non-stick, spray your pan. Make sure you spray your pan. You will be so happy that you did. You'll thank me, you'll send me comments and thank you that you did. Put your water in. After you put the water in, just let this get up to a boil. And the next pan, go ahead and spray for your pork chops. That's going to be getting hot. Let's get our pork chops ready. I have a couple of big pork chops here. The water has to boil for the rice. So if you put the lid on it, it helps it to come up to a boil faster. Not using much water will make it boil faster than filling up a pot 3/4 of the way. So I really only use what I need for water. Now for these pork chops, the pork chops have to cook with just salt and pepper on them. And garlic powder. And then we're going to make the glaze at the end. So we'll let those go. Let's get going on this garlic. These bulbs are pretty hard to separate. So you have to fight with them just a little bit. And they make a little bit of a mess. But that's just how garlic is. So here we go, just peeling this apart like this. Break up the bulb. You gotta do something anyway for a little bit while the pork chops cook. They're gonna take about 10 minutes per side, I would guess, with the size of the pork chops that I have. It's going to depend on your pan, your stove, the size of the pork chops, all that changes how long things cook, so I can't really tell you that exactly. Now I'm going to use my scraper here to clean up. And then I'm going to take and put the lid on top of the garlic and snap the lid shut. Let's see how it did here. Took the paper right off. I think I'm going to go with 3 really big ones here. I like garlic, so I want large chunks of garlic. Garlic chopper. All I'm going to do is to cut off the ends of the garlic. Fresh garlic is really good too, so, you know, either way. Just depends on how much time you have. Sometimes if you have a lot of things to do in the recipe, you're better off just to use the squeezed garlic. Comes in the bottle from the grocery store. But I have time today because not much I can do while the pork chops are cooking. Let's just turn them over and check it out. Ooh, looks pretty darn good. Salt and pepper the other side. Don't be afraid of spices. Don't be afraid that, well, you've already salt and peppered the other side, so you don't want to do this side. You have to do both sides. You really do. So, that's going. Now, I did spray the pan, but I'm going to put some olive oil in here. Adds to the flavor. It's going to cool things down a little bit. Just going to move these around a little bit in the garlic and the olive oil. Since I don't have a fan over my head because it would interfere with the microphones, I went ahead and opened the windows. It's such a nice day, I should have had the windows and doors open anyway, so I'm lucky I get a really good breeze. Here's the garlic slicer. You can use a press, you can cut it up by a knife, or if you got a fancy tool like this thing was really inexpensive. I just ordered it off the internet. You just charge it with the same charger you use for a cell phone. I don't think the best chef in the world is going to cut garlic as fast as I just did right there. It does a real good job. You can check and see if there's any paper in here. You know, if you see any, go ahead and take it out. I might have a little piece right here of paper. You could use a slap chopper too. Slap chopper works really well, and that takes the paper off. So you probably see me using that from time to time. So here's the garlic. We're going to just leave that sitting there for now, just like that. I have my 1/4 cup of water, which is going to be for my glaze later. Let's go ahead and put this rice in. This water's boiling. Put the lid on it right away. Let's set the timer for 10. Start that. While that's going, let's get the other ingredients ready. We have to do the can opener, and we also have to do the pineapple. Can opener will be for the corn. I got that ready to go. So let's do the pineapple really fast, as opposed to doing it really slow. Here's your pineapple. Try to cut it square. It makes a little bit of difference. Cut back about this far. This one's cut in fairly easy, so I think it's fairly ripe pineapple. And when you're shopping in the store, you're supposed to pull these out. And when they come out real easy, it's ripe. These are pretty rigid in here, so I'm going to say this is not an overly ripe pineapple. And I used to cut these things up like a pentagon. You could never ever get them as clean as you wanted, and it was a lot of work. With this new slicer I have, The important thing is to measure where you want to quit. So in this case here, I'm looking at quitting around 3 fingers. So I'm just going to stick it on top here like this and just start turning it. Of course, a more ripe pineapple is going to be easier. And some people like to put a towel around it so you're not touching these sharp tines that it has, but I mean, look at how easy this is. This is so easy that even a caveman could do it. Of course, in those days when cavemans, they didn't have plastic or stainless steel or machines to make it. Now, as you can see, I'm down as far as I'm going to go with this. Now, all you should have to do is just pull this thing out. There we go, I'm wiggling it. Now if you cut all the way down, it comes out really, really easy. But this time I didn't cut all the way down. There we go. Now it came loose. Of course, a more ripe pineapple, that would have popped out of there real easy. Okay, there we go. Now, this time I did it right, and I left the core in the center. When I did the review on this, I cut down too far and I cut all the way through. So, this is what you get. And then there's this little buttons that you pop off. I tell you, for 10 bucks, this is like the best tool ever made. And you can cut straight down on 2 sides, just like that, and they'll fall off. Or you can throw it down like that. There you go. We'll throw it in the sink to wash. Of course, doing a pineapple on your cutting board is a little messy. But, you know, citrus cleans your cutting board, so it's a good thing to put that on your cutting board. Let's check these pork chops, see how they're looking. Definitely have to have that olive oil. Without that olive oil, these would burn. So, you have to use something, even if you just use regular oil. When I cook Asian, I do peanut oil. You have to have some kind of oil here. Now, also, as part of this ingredients, I need some butter. Just about 1/4 of a stick. I'm just going to take my knife. Let's check on the rice. Use a wooden spoon for your rice. Rice is done. Bring this out, get it away from the burner. Let's go ahead and throw some butter in here with this rice. You know, rice and butter go together. Let's take a look at these pork chops and just see how they're doing. They're looking really, really good. I want to get some of that brown, some of that font on them. So to check them, I use the tongs. I turn them up like that. And then you stick it in long ways so you don't touch the pan. And then you just read it like that. And it says they're 165. So you want between 165 and 170. So the milk cruised to 170. So pork chops are done. I want to turn the burner down lower to medium. And I have to cook almost on high with this, because this is not the same as a regular stove that gets hot. This gets hot, but not as hot as a regular stove. So there's my pork chops. Now they have to rest for a few minutes. Now let's do some ingredients. So I have honey, and I'm going to have 1/4 of a cup of honey. So a quarter of a cup is about that much, and if it's too much, little honey's good, a lot of honey is better as far as I'm concerned. I'll let that melt for just a minute, get my vinegar ready. I'm going to use apple cider, I think this time, rather than using the rice wine. So I need a spoon for my measurement. I have that, and let's put this garlic in. Notice I'm leaving the pan hot. Putting liquids in will reduce the temperature, lower it, so that's why I'm doing this kind of stuff right now while the pan's really hot, but I don't want to burn the garlic. So let's go ahead and go forward now. Quarter cup of water, butter. I put the water in before the butter. Hopefully that helps so my butter doesn't burn. Smells really, really good. So it's all set. There's your pork chop. Let's pull that out. Turn the heat off. And then while the heat is in the off position, we're going to go ahead and put our rice in the pan. Don't have to clean your pan totally because you're going to transfer it back, whatever you don't use. Now, just kind of clean your pan too. You're going to roll your rice around like this. There's some rice right on top of the pork chop, just like that. Then we have some corn. I use a slotted spoon. Give it a quick stir. Just like that. I can set it on this countertop since it's marble. Some salt and pepper. Corn, potatoes. Certain things have to have salt and pepper. I mean, even meat, you have to have a little salt and pepper on the meat. It will be okay, but it's really you have to have the taste. I know we all want to have no salt. Well, you got to have some salt for the taste. Okay, there is your corn, your rice. We take a little bit of parsley, just put it on like that, just for a little bit of appearance. And we take some pineapples. We just put some pineapples around here. These are really good. They have a cool, fresh taste to them. And there you go, there's your meal. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.